What can we learn about creativity when we stop analyzing it and start exploring it? Our guest today has traveled through more than 75 countries to understand how ideas are born in the real world. From Spain's Mierda moment to Hong Kong's divine ideas, from Filipino resilience to the nomadic mindset of Mongolia. His new book, The World of Creativity, is a global journey into the human creative mind. We'll talk about curiosity, decision, blocks, intuition, and why the world itself is the best creativity teacher. We are ready to hack the creativity of Fredrik Haren. So, Fredrik, welcome to Hacking Creativity Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Fredrik.
Hi.
So, I think we publish more than 400 episodes, but this one is the first one in English.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate the change in language.
So
maybe the last one. We don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm guessing it will be like a disaster. But let's try. So, Fredrik, we are here in Milan because tomorrow you will speak at an event, Creativity for Better. But you have done more than 2,000 keynote speeches. Is it correct?
Yeah, that is correct. But I started young. I started when I was 27. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Wow. So you've been all over the world.
No, but I've spoken in 75 countries.
Wow.
So I've been to half of the world.
Okay. So which one would you really like to do for the next speech?
Yeah, I have a short list of countries I haven't spoken in yet. So, for example, Kenya, Greece. I've never spoken in Greece.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Kazakhstan. There's a few top on, but basically most countries in Africa, to be honest.
Okay.
And Argentina. I would love to speak in Argentina.
So, but we are here to talk about your last book that's called The World of Creativity, right? Can you talk about this for a little bit?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to talk about it. It's the book I always wanted to write because I've been spending 25 years speaking and writing about creativity. And then the first few years I spoke about the internet. But since 2000, I've been researching creativity and interviewed thousands of creative people. And in this book, it's the 37 most interesting insights around creativity from 37 different countries. So it's insights into the creative process from creative people I've met on my journeys. And I'm really proud of this book.
Okay. So it's now available in pre-order on Amazon, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
It comes out just before Christmas, but yeah, you can order it.
Okay, perfect. And so
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why are you so interested in creativity? Because we have got our reason.
Yeah.
I will tell you later.
Okay.
And what's your motivation for it?
That's a good question. I think there's two answers when I've been thinking about it. The first one is that I have an identical twin brother. So when you have an identical twin brother, it's like brainstorming with yourself. It's hard to explain for anyone else, except now you can start doing it with AI. If you upload all your text, you can start brainstorming with yourself, and I highly recommend it. But when I was growing up, if I had an idea, he knew what I meant. So instead of when you brainstorm with someone, you have to find someone who's kind of similar. But I had someone who is exactly similar. So I said I would, we finish each other's sentences. So I would, I have an idea. He goes, we can do this, and then like that. So then I grew up in an environment where I always had someone to brainstorm ideas with. It was exactly like brainstorming with my own brain, outside of my own brain. So that was the one reason. The other reason is, so that was the positive reason.
I thought that the twins are similar body-wise, not from the
both.
brain point of view.
Oh, both. I mean,
both.
It's we are genetically the same, but also So both because you're genetically. Your genes doesn't only decide your hair color, also decides your personality. So we are the same, but also we grew up in the same environment, exactly the same. So it's both. Yeah. You don't have to become similar, but we were very similar. The negative reason to it is I grew up in a family where my father was a musician. So he was a music teacher. He could play 10 different instruments, like the flute, the saxophone, the piano, everything. So, and he was a very creative musician, but I sucked at music. Like my brother has perfect pitch. He can hear a song once and he can play it. Not my twin brother, my other brother.
Okay.
And I can't do that. So I grew up in a family where creativity was celebrated. It was very important, but I sucked at it. And then it took me until I was in my mid-20s and until I found the thing I was good at when it came to creativity. And for the longest time, I thought creativity is important, but I suck at it.
No.
But
really.
my mother was a teacher, so she loves learning. So when I realized that, when I said, oh, I am good at some kind of creativity, but it's not music. Oh, so there's different kinds of creativity. Let's find out what kind of creativities there are. And then I became the creativity explorer. So
that's really cool.
And what about your brother? His path on creativity?
So we both became speakers on creativity. And then I became, I know, it's kind of pathetic. But then we switched. So my mother said we were very similar until we got married. Then we became much more similar to our wives.
Okay. Now I have a doubt. I have to ask you a question. Are we sure that you are Fredrik?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
because we have an interview with Fredrik. Are you Fredrik? Can you prove it?
No, I can't. And actually,
Okay.
I don't know. What if they switched at birth? So I don't know if I am Fredrik. Maybe I'm my brother. Okay. It's kind of funny because we are mirror twins. So my hair goes like this, and his hair goes like this. I'm left-handed. He's right-handed. So we're extremely similar. In that
You have
sense.
to write a book about this. It's very fascinating.
No, it's fascinating. But we were extremely similar until we were in our 40s. And then we switched. So I became a global keynote speaker. And he said, I don't want to travel at all. So he bought a mansion. And then if you want to hear him speak, you have to book the conference in his mansion. So he doesn't travel at all. He doesn't even want to go to Stockholm.
Okay, that's the proof you are the real Fredrik. Okay.
Yeah, that's
because you are here in Milan.
Exactly.
Okay, right.
But your brother is my hero, because I never moved from my house. So now I'm in Milan and I hate it. No.
And I am in Milan and I love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
You are the right Fredrik. Okay, so let's begin this journey on creativity. So we chose 10 of your 37 creativity methods all around the world. And so let's start with Morocco. So in your book, you tell a story about Morocco, Caribbean, UK, and Iceland, all combined. So can you tell us more?
Yes, because it's one of the first chapters because it starts with curiosity. So if you ask me, what's the most common trait of truly creative people, it's that they are curious. So I interview a lot of people, and then this person that is in the book is Frank Stevenson. Yeah, the designer of the Mini, super creative guy. Yeah. So I met him, I interviewed with him, and he said, I am a very curious person. So I said, okay, prove it. Tell me a story of curiosity. I don't know if do you have time to tell the story? It's a little bit long.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll try to get the short version of it.
Okay. No, don't worry, we have got time.
Okay, so he was the head of design at Ferrari, and he got recruited to become the head of design of McLaren. But before that, he went on vacation. So he went to Bahamas, and he checked into a hotel, and behind the receptionist in the hotel, there was a sailfish, a stuffed sailfish. And he sees it, and he starts asking questions. Like, why do you have a sailfish? Why is it not a shark? The receptionist goes, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? No one has ever asked. So that fish have been sitting there for, 10,000 tourists have seen it. Most people haven't even seen it. And the people who saw it, they don't care. He sees it, he notices it, he said, why is it a sailfish? I want to learn more. So then he starts learning more about sailfish. But then, so he goes down the rabbit hole. But then he's supposed to go home to England, start working at McLaren. But on the flight back, he realizes, wait, I only saw a dead one. I never saw a real one, like a live one. I need to see a live sailfish. So he realizes he has a 5-hour layover in Miami.
That's
you and me, we would go to the business lounge, we'd drink gin and tonic, we wait for our flight. He leaves the airport, rushes down to the harbor, in hoping that maybe, if he's lucky, in that half an hour, he'll see a sailfish. And he sees a sailfish. There's one guy comes in. He goes up to that guy and says, I want to buy your fish. How much do you want for your fish? The guy goes, are you stupid? You know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is to catch a sailfish? I'm not selling it. He goes, this is America. Everything is for sale. And the guy says, okay, $20,000. So he buys the fish for $20,000. Yeah.
Wow.
He told me that the finance department called him up and said, what the fuck did you just buy?
It was with the corporate credit
with the corporate card.
No,
yeah.
really?
Wow.
And he hadn't started working at McLaren. He was just going to start, but he got the card
That's
already.
amazing.
And he said, what do you mean? What, the fish? Anyway, so he buys it, and then he paints it he stuffs it He paints it in the colors of McLaren, and he puts it up in the design studio to remind his designers that we are here to make fast things, just like the sailfish. But cool. Not only that, then he says, why is the sailfish so fast? So he takes it off the wall and he puts it in the wind tunnel. And then they realize that the design of the sailfish is different from other fish, and they say, oh, okay, it's too complicated to explain why. But they notice things in the design of the fish, and they say, wait, maybe we can do that on a car. And they put it into the car. And so the McLaren car became slightly faster because on vacation he saw something behind the receptionist and he decided to ask, right? And I think the key here is he decided to ask. So I was just in Finland last week, and the Finnish word for curious is utelias, which means the love of asking questions.
Oh.
So I think that's a very beautiful word for curiosity. Like, you need to ask. Like, just ask.
You know what? You have to allocate a proper time in your life it takes time to ask questions, to stop. You know that we live our life on a smartphone, so we're always in a rush. You have to stop and look around you, correct? Yeah. And then sometimes we are afraid of asking. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like men don't ask for directions, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really cool.
But it's two things. It's asking questions, but it's also observation. Like, he noticed the fish. Yeah. I was interviewing another creative person. He's a painter, and he makes amazing paintings. But he said, I'm not a painter. I am an observer. I'm an observer. I observe things. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, Fredrik, do you ever walk in the forest? I go, yeah, of course I do. He said, okay, how often do you turn around? I said, what do you mean turn around? Yeah, how often when you walk in the forest do you turn around? And I said, I don't know. Every time I hear a sound, maybe. I said, how often do you turn around? He goes, every 50 meters. Because if you turn around every 50 meters, first of all, you see twice as much forest, right? Because you see the tree from both sides. But more importantly, the animals see you before you see them. So when you walk into the forest, they all hide. But as soon as you walk by, the animals come out. So if you turn around, you'll see more animals. Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's conscious observation.
Yeah. So I had the privilege to read your book in advance. And so it's packed and filled with all these stories. Yeah. And it's fantastic because you have a lot of inspiration just reading it. And so we can go for the second one that we chose. And this is incredible. In Iceland, there was a saying that if you don't travel, you are an idiot. This is talking to me, right?
Yeah. That's for you.
Yeah. So can you explain? There's the word is called heimskur. Heimskur. Okay.
Yeah, and heim means home. Okay. So the idea was that in the old Viking age, if you were a Viking and you lived in Iceland, you're supposed to build a ship and sail south, to, I don't know, Italy, Denmark, whatever. And you were supposed to steal things, right? Women and weapons and cows and gold. But most importantly, you were supposed to steal ideas. How do they farm in Denmark? How do they make weapons in Italy? And you take those ideas and you bring it back to your farm in Iceland. If you didn't do that, if you did not do that, you were a heimskur. And heimskur means moron or stupid person, idiot. And I think it's such a beautiful... It's a beautiful description of this mentality that people elsewhere are doing things in ways that are better than we are doing them. Like, I think it's a flaw in the human DNA that we are not better at picking up ideas from others. Like, people have come up with all these great ideas, and then we're not incorporating them because we think we do better. We might talk about Sweden later. Are we talking about the Swedish chapter, because it's kind of connected?
No, but we can absolutely do it.
Okay. Okay. I think the Swedish chapter is the last chapter, and I think it's a beautiful chapter about which connects all of this curiosity, open-mindedness, open to other people's ideas. Yeah. So we definitely should talk about that.
Which is, in your opinion, the edge between stealing and
inspiration? Let's say
inspiration on something. Is there
a
clear path, or is it a nuance?
That's actually the Chinese chapter.
Okay.
That is we can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great one. So I used to live in China, And when we in the West look at Chinese creativity, we see that all they do is copy, right? But actually, all creativity is copying. There's never been no idea. Like a podcast is just radio over the internet, right? The iPhone was a computer and a telephone. Every idea is a combination of already existing ideas. So you cannot be a creative without copying someone. Pablo Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. Everyone copies. The trick is how to copy. And I met this, in the book I talk about, I met this Chinese designer. Her name is Amelia, super creative. And she said, you people in the West, you're obsessed with creativity. That's all you talk about. She said, you talk about intellectual property. You talk about patents. You talk about copyright. She said to me, Fredrik, listen to me. It's not about copyright. It's about copying right.
That's a good quote.
That is a very good quote.
Wow.
And I like to exemplify it with airports. Because I used to live in Singapore, which has the best airport in the world, by far. And I've seen a lot of airports. When they built Changi Airport, they went and they looked at all the best airports in the world, like Charles de Gaulle, Heathrow, JFK. They went to all of them and they said, what makes this airport so good? And they took that part and they copied that. But they took the best of every airport and then they built Changi, the best airport by far in the world. Now, have you been to Charles de Gaulle lately?
No.
Okay, Heathrow, JFK.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's terrible. It's a terrible experience because they haven't. So I asked Changi when I was working with them, I asked them, when's the last time Charles de Gaulle came and looked at you, to copy from you? And they said, we can't remember. I don't think they've ever been. So the idea of looking at what does everyone in the world do, and then to copy that and bring that, and then of course add your own ideas as well. Yeah. So copyright.
That's true.
And I don't know if you have read the Rick Rubin book about creativity.
I don't read other creativity books.
Oh, explain why.
You have to copy from them.
No, because I'm afraid to copy wrong.
Okay.
Okay. I
have a terrible memory. Like I have no memory at all. So I'm afraid if I read a creativity book and there's a story in that book, I might not remember that I picked it up in a book. I think I might, by mistake, think it's something I came up with.
Okay.
Or something someone told me. So, and then I will use that in a podcast interview and say, you stole that from Edward de Bono. So, no. So I know myself. I don't read other creativity books. I'm sure they're great, but I'm afraid of this. Being accused of copying wrong. So instead, I meet with creative people because then I tell their stories.
But Rick Rubin, in this book, told us that is convinced that all ideas are already written somehow in the universe, and you just have to connect with them at the right time.
Like a radio.
Yeah, like a radio.
Yes.
So there's no copyright because they are all just made and they are just.
So you're a bridge between the idea and the real world.
What are your thoughts about it?
Yes, there are actually multiple chapters in the book based on this. Yeah. And there's one painter in Riga, and she calls it receive the mystery. And she likens creativity like an antenna. So you're just there to put up the antenna so that you can receive the idea that is out there. But it's also the example from Hong Kong, where I interviewed this sculptor, and he talks about mortal ideas and divine ideas. And I think it's a deficit at least in the English language. I don't know if the Italian language, but in the English language, there's only one word for idea. Like, I have an idea. But there are two kinds of ideas. It's mortal ideas and divine ideas. Mortal ideas is like, I think I'm gonna, make pancakes for breakfast. Yeah, that's an idea. But it's not a great, it's like so your brain deciding to do something. Yeah. But what you were talking about is divine ideas, when something just comes, the universe just comes to you and say, you need to do this. And those two ideas are so different, they should not use the same word to describe both. So mortal ideas is things your conscious mind comes up with, and divine ideas is ideas that come to you. One is like an outward motion. This is, I'm expressing myself. The other one is like ideas come to me. The best idea I have ever had in my life came in a nightmare. And I just woke up, I dreamt the whole movie. I dreamt the whole story. Characters, names, what they look like. Harry Potter was like this. Harry Potter came on a train ride. Boom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like that. And this Johnson Thang, this sculpture, I was walking around in his studio, and I can look at his sculptures, and I can say, that's a mortal idea. That's an idea you decided to do. And that's a divine idea, something that came in a dream or a meditation. And every time I was right.
Oh.
Because the mortal ideas are actually not that good. But the divine ideas is like a face with another face coming out with a canoe with a baby in it. Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, but it came to me in a dream. So, and he said, which I think is beautiful, he said, divine ideas are always good and beautiful. And that's an interesting observation, that the divine ideas, the ones that just come to us, they are so beautiful. And the one that came to me in a nightmare is the most beautiful idea I've ever had in my life. So that's why I like to call it divine. It doesn't matter if you believe it's a god or not a god, but it is bigger than us. They are bigger. And we should aim for more divine ideas, because that's what makes the world much better. Like,
is there a way to grab these divine ideas? I mean, sometimes you feel this little spark, but then you have to do your life. You have to go to work, do stuff. Or you feel it right away.
This is how I explain this to people. Like, it's like love. It's like, how do I know? How do I know if I'm in love? Like, what if I miss that? Like, if you are in love, you drop everything else. If you have a divine idea, life doesn't go on. Life stops, and you just do this. Like my idea, I woke up at 2 a.m. and I was like, oh my God, I had to stop everything. I just started to write right there and then. So they stop you.
Okay. So
if you don't stop, it's not a divine idea.
Okay, I get it. I ask one more question about this. But how I have to live in order to increase the opportunity to have these kind of divine ideas?
Yes. Well, first of all, you have to live authentically, and whatever that means to you. So in my case, that means I don't know if you know this, but I live on an island. So I'm an introvert. I don't like people. I don't like neighbors. I want to be by myself, all alone. I don't want to be disrupted. If someone's going to disrupt me, I need to go get them in my boat.
Okay.
All right. But I do that half of the year. The other half of the year, I travel like crazy because I need to meet inspiring people like you. And I need to balance those too. So that's my authentic creative life. That's one part. The other part is to slow down. This is not in the book, but it's a great story. Yeah. There's a guy who invented he built the watch that got awarded best watch in the world, like the most innovative watch in the world. He had this idea because he had a mental breakdown. He had been working too much, and then suddenly his body just said, no, stop working. So roughly like this, for like 6 months, he would sleep 16 hours a day. Oh. Yeah, because he needed to rest. And then he would wake up, he wouldn't go to work, he would just eat and watch Star Trek. That's it. He would binge watch Star Trek for, 8 hours. Or 6 hours, whatever it is, until he would go to sleep again. He would sleep, eat, and watch Star Trek for months, and months, like multiple months. He had a meltdown, and then suddenly he wakes up from a dream, and he dreams a new kind of a watch, and it's not a 2-dimensional watch; it's a 3-dimensional watch. The motions are built like planets in a solar system. They're going around each other like this, 3-dimensionally. It's beautiful. He starts building it, and everyone goes, oh, this is amazing. This watch is going to be, I've never seen any watch like this. And then suddenly he gets stuck. It doesn't work. It's beautiful, but it doesn't work. And everyone says, oh, that's too bad. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. I'm just going to go back to my dream. So he went back to sleep. He went back to the same dream. And he saw, that's where I didn't see it correctly. This is how it's supposed to be. He woke up again. He continued. It worked. And he was voted best watch and most innovative watch in the world that year. It's beautiful. I don't remember the name now, but you Google, it's mad. So to answer your question, it's like first authentic life, and then, meditate, sleep, relax, go in nature, all of the things that slows your brain down. And like
even if it's like watching
Star Trek.
24 hours.
No, I think the key wasn't the key was two-thirds sleeping, 1/3 Star Trek. Okay. The problem with most people is that they do 2/3 Star Trek and 1/3, and then it doesn't happen. The key was a lot of sleep.
Wow. That's a good point.
So let's continue this, world tour around the world again, and we can stop in Japan because that was a chapter that really hooked me.
Oh, cool.
Kaitakusha, right? The frontier cultivator.
Yes.
Can you explain this chapter for us?
So I like. There's actually a wonderful book which is called They Have a Word for It, and it's an encyclopedia with words that only exist in one language. So for example, in that book, there's a word in Japan for the silence between two people who know each other so well they don't have to speak. And there's another word from an African tribe, which is when your cousins have been overstaying their welcome by 6 weeks. It's like we don't have
specific.
We don't have that word in Swedish. Like, we don't have that. So it's like it tells you so much about the culture, but also adds that, like, we have besserwisser, and the whole word took the word besserwisser from Germany. So this Japanese word is someone who cultivates the future, which is different from the word pioneer, because pioneer just means the person who goes first. It doesn't have the second half, which is someone who cultivates the future. So this word means someone who goes into the future, sees something new, a new trend. Like, I started my career when I was 26 years old, and I saw the internet, and I said, oh, this is going to be amazing. It was 1995. This is going to be amazing. It's going to change the world. So I wrote a book about it and said, this is what the future will look like. And so you go there, you see the future, and then you come back to the group and you say, I saw this, you need to see this too. So you're cultivating the future. You're helping others see it too, which is much more positive than just I go first, like an early adopter. That's all about you. This is you go first and then you bring everyone else with you. I think it's a small twist, but it's an important one.
Yeah, and it's the hero's journey. Kind of thing when you told stories is exactly the same. So you go on an adventure, and then you came back to your village and teach people what you learned. So it's exactly the same. Exactly,
and I am the creativity explorer. To explore the definition, to venture into unknown territory in order to learn more about it. Right. So it's not an adventurer. You go there to learn something that we didn't know, and then you bring it back so that everyone can learn. Look, here's chili. I found potatoes. We can now grow. Like, you grow the world for everyone else. So it's not enough to just see the future. You need to help others see the future too.
All right. So another one from Ukraine. It was about the right moment to stop thinking and start doing, right?
There's two chapters about doing, because I find it so important. In one of the chapters, I call it the DQ. So you have intelligence, and then you have EQ, which is emotional intelligence. But this is DQ, which means doing quotient, meaning I write in the book, I said, I'd much rather invest in someone with high DQ than high IQ. So someone who a lot of people, I'm so creative, I have so many ideas. No, you're not creative if you have it's the one who has ideas and makes them happen. And the people who can make ideas happen are way more creative than the people who have crazy ideas. Yeah. So it's this idea of, but then in the book, I talk about this moment when you decide, I'm going to do it. Because everyone talks about the eureka moment. It's like, I have an idea. But that's not the most powerful moment in the creative process. The most powerful moment in the creative process is when you say, I had this idea and I'm going to make it happen. Usually it comes very close to each other, but sometimes it could be years in between the two. And it's the moment you decide to make the idea happen is the most powerful moment in the creative process. And that didn't have a name, so I put a name on it. I put 2 names on it, actually.
Do you think that these 2 stages, so having the idea and going the production stage of it, has to be handled by the same person, or maybe in the world there are persons who are more focused on the idea and then they can pass the ball to another kind of person that can do it?
Well, actually, the North Korean chapter is about the idea that creativity is never something that one person does. So it is very few, very, 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 very few, I would say 0 ideas. That's all one person. Even Even if you're a painter and you paint all by yourself, someone else made the paint, or someone taught you how to paint, or so creativity is a collective human experience. It's much better to look at it that way. And when you look at it this way, ego disappears. Ego goes away. And we all know that ego kills creativity. So for nothing else, that's a good approach. Yeah.
You know why I'm trying to struggle something I usually do in my work. So I get really excited by an idea, and I'm still excited when I have to build the pilot, the first stages, and then the idea when you have to move it to the real world. So you have to think about all the boring stuff around this. I get a little bit tired and bored.
Yes.
What do you think about this? Have you got any
That's not in the book, but that's a mistake that a lot of people do, that they think of creativity as that one big idea. Like, oh, I'm going to make an iPhone, let's say. But creativity, the iPhone didn't just magically go from, oh, we're going to build the iPhone, to suddenly you have an iPhone. There's a million small ideas in between. Oh, we should use this kind of a charger. We should use, what kind of user interface? There's never one big idea. It's a big idea, but there's a million small ideas that will make. So some people, like one of my best friends, she's a producer. She's really good project manager, and she will solve a lot of problems, but she doesn't come up with the ideas. She makes the ideas happen, but she's super creative in making the ideas happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and if that's your weakness, you should find a partner who is like her, like a project manager kind of a person.
Yeah.
And she is as creative as you are. If you're the I have the idea guy, she's the I make the ideas happen girl.
Yeah, but she wants to start a little bit later in the process.
Exactly. Or she doesn't care if it's her idea or someone else's idea.
Yeah.
She has her own ideas too, but she loves, and this is a chapter from the book. It's about loving the process. And I interviewed a guy, this is one of my favorites, because he was studying the process of brewing. He was a brewmaster student, studying how to make beer in the oldest brewery in the world. They've been making beer there since the year 500, I think, something crazy, something crazy like this. But he said it's a 2-year course, and 2 kinds of people apply. Half of the students come there because they love beer. They love drinking beer, like the concept of drinking beer. The other half, they like making beer. It's like they like the process, they like chemistry and all this. After 1 year, half of the students have quit. Which half has quit?
The one who drinks.
Yes, the one who drinks beer. Because when then suddenly they need to learn this boring part of some stupid sub-process. They say, I don't care, I just want to drink beer. So they quit. But the people who love the process of making beer, they stay. So if you want to be a creative person, you should focus in the areas where you love the process, not the end result. And I am a speaker. I often meet people say, "Oh, I love to be on stage." I say, "Well, good for you, but you're not going to be a keynote speaker. The keynote speaker is the one who loves the process of making a speech, writing a speech, rehearsing a speech. The process of and it's true for anything. And the good thing is, if you love the process, you don't care if you fail, because you're just learning something about the process."
It connects perfectly with this moment. In Spain, there's this mierda moment. And it's funny because in Italy...
What does it mean, mierda?
No, in Italy, the word for shit is merda.
Ah, yeah. So, okay, close.
We just missed an I. So
no, they stole it from you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You're the originals.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know that.
But we know that. It's Latin. So it came from you, and then the Spanish took it.
Yeah, okay.
That's a solid point.
Yeah, absolutely. Solid point. So in Spain, they call this mierda moment, when you are stuck. But there's a way to, change this moment into a creative moment somehow.
Yes, it's actually not when it's when you are stuck, but it is a specific kind of stuck. Yeah. So this is she's a glass artist. She makes amazing, her glass sculptures are like super transparent, very thick, very hard to make. But when she was creating them over and over, you put it in the kiln and then you open it after like 6 weeks and it's broken. Over and over. And every time she opened it, she got disappointed. And this is normal. When something breaks, we get disappointed. And that's a negative energy. We lose momentum. But then this was one time when it failed. And instead of becoming like, oh, she went, mierda. Like, what the fuck just happened? And she got so much energy from that specific failure. She said, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to figure this out. So she called up, like she Googled every glass expert in the world. She went to the library. She read all the books. She's like, I am going to figure out why this happens. And she did. So the merida moment is that moment of failure that gives you a positive energy. It's like you have a turbo booster in a computer game, and then you press it and zoom, you have so much power. It only lasts for a while, but if it happens to you, you need to take advantage of that because it will soon be gone. But that is one of the most powerful creative energies there is. The merida, the moment, the positive moment of failure, which is a very rare one, but when it happens, we need to grasp it.
All right. I have a general question. Do you think that every human being is creative?
Yes.
But?
No but.
No but. No.
Yes. I think everyone is creative. I think everyone has the potential to be immensely more creative. And specifically the creative ones. Because I speak about creativity, I get a lot of people come to me and say, oh, Fredrik, don't you feel sad about the uncreative people in the world? Like the accountants, those poor people. I go, no, I don't. I feel sad for the creative people who are not trying hard enough. Like, I don't feel sad for a short basketball player. I feel sad for a tall basketball player who has talent, but who wastes it. And we have all these super duper creative people, and they are just doing it, like with their left hand kind of, oh yeah, I know how to do this. Like, why? Imagine if the 1% most creative people in the world became 10% more creative.
Wow.
Boom. What a world we'd live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the saddest part.
Okay.
Yeah, but we forget to be creative. I mean, I observe a lot my kids.
Yes.
7 and 4, so they are at their peak of creativity.
Yes.
And then I don't know if it's the school fault or parents' fault.
It's the parents' fault.
They.
Okay.
I'm afraid I don't want to. Yeah, it's my fault.
No, sorry, but I have to interrupt you. It is the parents' fault because everyone went to school, and some people went into adulthood and are still creative. They went to the same school as everyone else. So school doesn't kill creativity. So what's the difference? The difference is different parents. So parents kills creativity. Don't blame school, blame yourself. Now, sorry, I interrupted you, but that's important. Yeah.
I was just want to ask you what I have to do.
Yes.
In order not to be a bad father.
Exactly, because it's not too late. They're 4 and 7.
It's not too late. Okay.
And I'm going to give you a very good advice.
Wow.
Because my father was a very creative person. And I told you, my mother was a teacher. So I got kids very late. I'm 57 and my oldest is 14. So I was already a creativity expert when I had kids. So I went to my mom and I said, Mom, I know creativity and I can teach this to my kids, but I don't know kids. Teach me how to raise a creative child. And she's hundreds of thousands of kids, or at least 100,000. She said, and this is good advice. Whenever your child asks you a question, don't give the answer. Boom. That's the one.
Ask another question, maybe.
No. Just say, what do you think? So your 4-year-old come to you and say, Daddy, why is the sky blue? And you go, oh, you feel so proud. He's asking questions, or she's asking questions. How cute, she's so curious. I'm going to give her all the answers. I'm going to teach her about the world. You say, oh, you see the sky is blue because, and now you give her the answer. But creativity is not about asking questions. Creativity is about finding answers. And what are you teaching your child? That the child shouldn't do that. You'll do it for him. And then they lose that ability. So the next time they ask you a question, you say, what do you think? And now the child will answer their own question. I think the sky is blue because blue is the favorite color of God, whatever they say. And you go, oh, that's a very interesting answer. And the scientists think, and now you give the answer. You just hold back 30 seconds. That's all you have to do. Many times their answer will be better than yours. But what are you teaching them? You're teaching them, first of all, continue to ask questions, but then also go and find the answers. It's super hard to do, but I've used this on my kids.
I can do it brilliant. With a 4 years old, the old one.
No, 7.
She wants to get right away the answer. So
you should
I can try with the second one.
Try with
the first one, it's done.
No, it's not. So let's continue this world tour.
Wait, can I say something more? Because I just heard there is a kindergarten in Sweden that put ChatGPT on voice mode in the kindergarten.
Whoa.
Yeah. So now imagine you have a bunch of kindergarten kids programmed to ask questions, and every time they will get an answer. I never thought about this, but think about this. What if we raise a generation that are never taught that stop asking questions? Because after a while, okay, after 10 questions, we go, no, go do something else. But here's someone who just keeps answering and answering and answering. If we do this right, we can raise the most creative and most curious generation that the world has ever seen, because we don't have to keep giving them answers. They could just encourage them to, keep asking.
Yeah, but isn't it dangerous with ChatGPT? So maybe there's no time between the question and the answer, so they don't have the time to, came up with their own answer.
I'm not saying we should outsource raising children to computers. I'm saying, imagine if you do this and we do what I just told you.
Okay.
Like when a child asks you a question, you say, what do you think? And we teach them to find the answers themselves. We do both of these strategies at the same time, and we're going to raise a very curious and creative generation. Perfect. I mean, it's like any tool. Use it wrong and it will ruin you. Use it right and it will be brilliant.
You know that some parents ask Alexa to tell the farewell story before night.
Well, that's sad.
It's happened. It's like, good night, Alexa. Tell her the story.
Or ChatGPT.
Or ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see in 20 years what's going to happen.
Yeah. One interesting chapter is about Philippines. We are talking about resilience, right?
Yes.
Because it's people able to smile even through difficulties. So,
yeah, the message there is, because my wife is from the Philippines, so I've spent a lot of time in the Philippines, and they are, the happiest people on the planet. Super happy, always happy. The receptionist in this hotel, I knew she was Filipino only because of her smile.
Wow.
It's like, you must be from the Philippines. Yo, how did you know? It's the smile. And I always wanted to understand, okay, why is this? Because it's not in their genes, it's how they raise them. And then I met someone in the government, and they said, we have so many, we've been conquered for 300 years. There's like earthquakes and tsunamis and typhoons here. There's so much negative things here. But we are not raised telling the negative side of the story. We're raised telling the positive side. And in the book, I tell a story, but the message is about resilience. So I'm a huge fan of etymology. So what does resilience mean? Re means again. Silience means to bounce. To resilience means to bounce back. Not just to come back, but to bounce back. Yeah. And a lot of people, the most common question I get after speech is from someone who says, the most common answer I get if I ask this question, what's the common trait of the most creative people? People say they're not afraid to fail. They're not afraid to take risk. I think this is wrong. I think the most creative people are the ones that are not afraid to bounce back after a failure, which is two totally different things. One is a risk taker, the other one is good at coming back. It's not that we fail that makes us creative, it's that we don't give up after we fail. That's the key. So resilience, to bounce back and come back stronger.
Mongolia. This is one of my favorites.
Yes.
They live by a simple philosophy, and it's think vastly, act narrowly.
And you don't understand the profoundness of that until you've been to Mongolia and see how vast the landscape is. You see forever.
Can you told us something more about this chapter?
Yes. So I went to Mongolia and I lived for, I think, 11 days with a nomadic tribe. Like they were living in tents. Because I wanted to see, how do people who live like we lived 30,000 years ago, how do they think about creativity? And they said, we are nomads, but you don't understand what nomad means. Because you think nomad means someone who always travels. And they said, it's not true, we don't always travel. And you think it means we don't have a home. I said, we do have a home. You're sitting in it right now. He said, nomad doesn't mean a movement of the body. It means the movement of the mind, which is beautiful. Yeah. So what does it mean to be a nomad? It means they travel until they find paradise, the perfect place to live for themselves, for their animals. This is the Shangri-La. And then they stop and they build a village and they live there for months. They don't travel, they live there. But every time when they wake up, they open the tent door, they look out, and they say to themselves, this was the perfect place to live yesterday, but is it the perfect place to live today? And if it's not, they tear down the whole village and they move. And they move until they find an even better place. And I heard that and I go, oh my God, why don't I should, and from that day, every time when I wake up, I say to myself, yesterday was perfect. I live on an island. I travel the world. I interview creative people. I love this job yesterday, but do I love it today? And I do that every day. And the saddest, one of the saddest things in the world are people who are stuck in things they should have left a long time ago. Like a bad relationship. Those people who are stuck in or
toxic relationship.
And they're just there. Or people who are stuck in a job they should have left a long time ago. Like, why? So this idea of just because it was great yesterday doesn't mean it's great. It could be even a clothing style. Like, that suited you really well when you were 30, but now you're 50. Maybe time to buy a suit or something, or whatever it is. So just because it was great yesterday doesn't mean it's great today. So to question that is to move like a Mongolian. It's a powerful message.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes you are aware, but you feel you're not brave enough to make a jump, to change completely your life sometimes.
Yeah,
so
and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that there, people who live in old folks' homes, there are two kinds of, the people who take care of really old people, there are two kinds of patients. It's the happy ones, and it's the angry, bitter ones.
Yeah.
And the common denominator for the bitter ones is that there's something they wish they've done in their life and they didn't. I should have divorced my wife and married Maria, right? And I never did that. I should have moved to America. Why didn't I do it? At the end of their life, you realize it's too late. I can never do it. And you become angry and bitter. Okay. So yes, there's something you need to do.
To balance
if there's something, no, there's no balance here. If there's something you need to do, you should do it.
Right
period.
Now.
Yeah. Or you will end up bitter.
Federico, I have to say you something.
No, I'm okay. No. I will travel with my mind to Thailand because it's time for an idea nap, right?
Yes. Okay, perfect. No, you say you don't want to travel. Yeah. I'm not saying you should travel. I'm only saying you should start traveling if you think you regret that you didn't later. You maybe you don't, then you shouldn't do it. Yeah. Maybe you should do it because you are now deflecting onto him what you think you should be doing more.
Yeah. I'm more like your brother. Yeah. I will be the creativity resident. You are the explorer. So
exactly.
I will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Creative involved.
It's happening more or less with us a little bit.
A little bit. So the idea nap. This is simple but powerful, right?
I agree. So this is a lesson from Thailand. I met this beautiful Thai, not beautiful, I mean, she looks beautiful, but this beautiful soul. She's like, imagine a person who, for a living, decides to make flowers out of paper. You can just sense, you can just sense the energy of this person, right? It's like I don't know, like a bird just sitting on it, I'm going to just sit here and make my paper flowers. So I met with her in her studio and we started talking. And for some reason, we got into this concept of creative block, And I asked her, what happens if you have like a creative block, like a writer's block, like an origami block? And she didn't understand my question. And I thought maybe because she doesn't understand English, I tried to explain to her. It's like, what happens if you're not moving forward? What do you do? And she said, I go to Starbucks. Okay, so what do you do there? You're like thinking about the problem. What are you doing? She goes, I'm ordering my coffee. Okay, sure. But after that, what do you do? She goes, I drink my coffee. And I realized that this was a person who was not aware that there is something called creative anxiety. She'd never had it. And she explained that in Thailand, they have something called sabai sabai. Do you know what sabai sabai is? Okay, it's beautiful. So if you go to Thailand, when you go to Thailand, they have sabai sabai basically means don't worry, be happy, life is wonderful. So the Westerner goes to Thailand, orders a beer. 20 minutes later, like, where the hell is my beer? Hey, waiter, where's my beer? The waiter will say, sabai sabai. don't worry, the beer will come when the beer will come. It's like the universe will take care of your beer. So when she has a creative block, she just says to herself, sabai, sabai, don't worry, it will sort itself out. So she goes to Starbucks and enjoys a coffee. And she calls this an idea nap, which is equivalent to a power nap. Like when you are tired, don't complain, just go and take a power nap and come back again. When you have a creative block, don't worry about it, sabai, sabai, go and enjoy a Starbucks coffee or go on a walk, see a movie or whatever, and then go back and continue your work, and the block will be gone, right? So basically, it's still a creative block, but it's a block without anxiety. After meeting her, I don't have creative anxiety anymore. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm stuck. Okay, never mind.
Where is the nearest Starbucks? I need a Starbucks right now.
One of my writing teachers, one time I told her, I have the writer's block. And she said to me, it's simple. You are not a writer. You have not the block. Simple as that.
No, that's tough. That's tough.
Tough, but, real.
Tough love, yeah.
Yeah, real. All right. So, for the last chapter, can you pick one? Maybe...
Yeah, Sweden then.
Sweden.
Yes,
yeah.
because I am from Sweden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's a great summary of the purpose of the book. So, in the book... Because Sweden is one of the most creative countries on the planet. Like, we're usually ranked top 3. But why? As a Swede,
And how do you measure?
Well, no, it doesn't matter. It's like
count?
number of patents, number of ideas per employee,
A lot of
number
numbers.
of companies. Like, there are many, many different studies. Sweden always comes in the top 5, usually top 3. America's number 1, Switzerland's number 2, Sweden's number 3. But why is this? Like, why does Sweden have so many big companies? I think the number of unicorn companies per capita in Stockholm is higher than Silicon Valley. It's like, what? All of you can have...
Spotify.
Yeah, Klarna. Like, why? And I couldn't answer it because it's hard to answer something about your own culture. But then I met the Swedish national team of cooking. And, as Italians, this is going to hurt you, but... there's something called the Food Olympics. And in the Food Olympics, every country sends their best chefs to find out who has the best chefs in the world. And Sweden regularly wins. Like,
really?
Yes, I know. It sounds
Are we
impossible.
playing?
Yes, you are playing. Yes.
We are playing.
And we beat you. And we beat you multiple times. Like, we are always...
In our game. It's not fair.
With Italian chefs that works in Sweden, right? No.
Oh, the Italian confidence.
Yeah.
So Sweden is 10 million people and we are not famous for food. Like, no one has ever said, honey, let's have Swedish tonight. Like, it's not a thing, right? Let's have Italian tonight, yes.
Yeah.
So how can we beat giant food countries like France and Italy? And they said, because French chefs think that French food is the best in the world. So they study in a 3-star Michelin restaurant. Italian chefs don't think French food is the best. They think Italian food is the best. So they go and ask their grandmother, how do you make good pasta? Tradition. And Japanese chefs, they say, our food is better than, everyone likes Japanese and it's more advanced than Italian. So we have the best food.
Can I answer for you?
Yeah.
You steal from everyone, the best
Not only that,
from
yes.
everyone.
Not
like
only that. Wait,
there's
2 pieces to this. The Swedes, they know Swedish food is not the best. So they go to Paris, they work in a 3-star Michelin restaurant, they go to Japan, they study under a sushi master chef, they go to Italy, interview 100 grandmothers, how do you make good pasta? But that's copying, right? Then they go back to Sweden and they take the best of Swedish food. And now they take the best of what we have and the best of what we didn't have and they combine it. And they said, we go to the Food Olympics and we do herring sashimi with lingonberry wasabi. And that's the key.
Melt.
So the lesson from Sweden is to be confidently humble or humbly confident. Because creative people have that's the creative sweet spot. Too confident and you become arrogant. Like, we have the best food in the world. I don't need to look at anyone else, right? But confidently doubting is like everyone is going to go to the left, you are going to go to the right. To do that, you need to be confident. But creative people, truly creative people, everyone is going to the left, I'm going to go to the right. Wait, maybe not. Maybe right is wrong. Maybe I should go up, maybe down, maybe forward, maybe back. So creative people are confident in their own abilities. At the same time, they doubt that if their idea is maybe not the best one. And that's what we can learn from Sweden. To be proud of what you know, and at the same time think that what we do might be wrong, there might be a better way. So that's the creative sweet spot.
It's not easy to make this step back.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes time and effort to do this kind of. I always think about the society we live, where we are every time in a rush. So it takes time.
Yes.
To be curious and to observe and to step back. To travel.
Yes.
To travel.
I'm doing a speech tomorrow, and I just did the slides while I was waiting for you to set it up. Yeah. My last slide says, in a world where everyone has made up your mind, be the one that doesn't. Because right now we're living in a very polarized world. Everyone's like, this is how the world is. It's like, no, maybe be a little bit more doubtful and say, maybe there might be a better way. Maybe more doubtful, curious, those. And all of those categories is the things that disconnects your ego from yourself. Humbleness, curiosity, that's the antidote to ego. And ego kills creativity.
All right, there's a lot more stories in your book, so go check it out, and you'll find it in pre-order on Amazon right now. But let's came back from the beginning. Global keynote speaker career, resident in my in my version, but you deliver more than 2,000 keynotes around the world. So let's say someone is, listening and say, "Oh, this is the career I want for myself." 3 pieces of advice.
Which are the hidden cost of it? I mean, you see that you are enjoying speaking on stage. Then there is the dark side, the dark side of the job.
There is no back. This is one of the jobs with the fewest back.
Really?
Yes. So sorry. There are a lot of perks and very little negativity, actually. I think it's the best. I like to say this. Being president of America, like the leader of the free world, after you've done that, what is the job that the people who have done that job take after they've been doing that? What job?
Keynote speaker.
There you go. So after being the leader of the free world, they go, maybe I should become a speaker now. So clearly it's a good job. The 3 advice, don't become a keynote speaker because of what we just talked about, like the perks, and that is the people who do it for that reason don't last very long. Because keynote, that's why I think introverts make better speaker than extrovert, because it's not about you, it's about the message. When someone is asked to introduce me on stage, I say, don't introduce me, introduce my topic. So if you become a speaker because you want to be a speaker, you are most likely not going to be very successful. And this is true for actually any creative endeavor. I want to be a painter. No, I love painting. Or one in the person in the book says, I am a student of music. He's not a musician, he's a student of music. I'm an explorer of creativity. And because I'm asked to speak about it. I'm not a speaker. So don't do it because of the career opportunities. Don't do it because you want to be a speaker. Find a topic that you are absolutely passionate to learn more about. So in my case, I interview more or less one person a day about creativity. That's my main job. And then once in a while I speak about it. But my main job is to explore creativity. Find a topic that you can't sit in a taxi and not ask the taxi driver about it. Even if your topic is gender diversity. Why are there not more female taxi drivers? Ask the taxi driver. So that's the most important one. And watch stand-up comedy. Because stand-up comedians are the best speakers in the world, especially the one that does crowd work, the ones that their routine is that they interact with the audience and spontaneously change the story based on the audience. That is the hardest part. That's the hardest speaking you can do, and learn from them.
Are you a Matt Rives fan?
Yeah, I know this guy. Yeah, of course. I'm bad at names, but yeah, of course I know this guy.
Yeah.
He got into trouble because he mentioned something about he went too far on one joke, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe 1 year ago.
But now it's back. Yeah, of course. He's really good at crowd work. Yeah.
How would you split your year of working between speaking on stage and working on your topic?
Okay, here's another mistake people think. People think that most of the job is speaking, and it's not. And then then the most of the job is selling the speeches, marketing yourself. And I would say it's not. Some people do that very successfully, but for me, the main job, 90% of what I do is finding interesting people to interview and to interview them and to write about what I learned. More. And I don't make any money on that. I'm like, okay, if someone buys a book, but it's like 5% of my revenue is books. So all the revenue is speaking. But to be credible on stage, people need to think this guy is passionate about creativity, not this guy is great at selling himself as a speaker, right?
And how do you find the most interesting people to interview? Is there a way? Or?
Well, I have a full-time assistant in Sri Lanka, and that's her job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, today, I'm interviewing 2 people. I don't remember.
Here?
Here in Milan. Because, last week I was in Cannes. I spoke for lawyers. Okay? So I tell her, if I'm speaking for one industry, I want to meet people who are totally different from lawyers. So I spoke to lawyers, and of course, then I interviewed them. But I also interviewed a serial entrepreneur and a painter. So now in Cannes, I got 3 totally different perspectives on creativity. And the most interesting one was the painter.
But by interview, you mean you speak to them, or do
I
you
spend an hour with them,
or do you record the?
Sometimes,
the interview?
Sometimes I record. I always record for my notes, but sometimes
just audio.
No, sometimes video. The one in Cannes I did on video because he's a painter. I wanted to catch his paint. He does what do you call that? Mosaics.
Okay.
Of posters.
Beautiful.
Yes, but the key from this one was that he has all this. He goes around Cannes, and he tears down the posters. The public posters. He tears them down, and then he creates collages. So it's a local Cannes collage, right? But he doesn't organize the posters. Like he could do, here are all the ones with eyes on, here are all the yellow ones, here are all the green ones. And then it would very be easy to make a collage, but he doesn't organize it. He just put them all in a big pile. And then when he makes a collage, he has to go through it all. I said, why do you do this? And he said, because if it's structured, there's no element of surprise anymore. And I get bored. And we thought about it. It's like, what is the biggest punishment you can get in jail? It's solitary confinement. Yeah. And why is this? There's 2 reasons. Number 1, you don't get to interact with other people. But number 2, everything is predictable. You know exactly how everything works. And what happens there? You go crazy. So he said, if everything was there, I need some yellow letters, and I go to the yellow box, I put it out. I bored to death. Like, how boring is this? So the lesson there was to structure your life less, to invite more surprise, more element of surprise, to trigger your curiosity. And that's actually not a bad advice.
So 90% research. And then when you plan to go to a place, a country, your assistant works for you and search for interesting people.
Yeah, and then she sends me a list. She sends me a list and I pick.
So you interviewed a lot of creatives all around the world, and now we are here and we are 2 creative people. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions to you. I was thinking about it yesterday. I said maybe one time I should do a podcast where I ask all the questions.
You relax.
But I'm interested. Why did you start the podcast?
Oh, that's a good one. So it was Eduardo's idea, and I think he reached out 15 or 20 people, and they turned it down, and then the last name of the list was me. So
that's true.
Okay, so then why did you want to start a podcast?
So the reason is this. We work with creativity. Since I'm a television writer, he's a screenwriter. So in order to do a good job, we have to come up with the good ideas. So creativity is very important for us. And nobody has told us what creativity is, even if it's very important in our life. So I said, so let's find out. And maybe it's a similar aim, but since we are comfortable, we are used to work with videos and audio, I said, okay, since we want to do a lot of interview, let's record them and make something useful like a podcast.
Okay. And why do you continue to do the podcast? Which is the more interesting question.
Because we haven't found
the answer. Yeah.
So if you do one interview that suddenly just blows your mind and goes, so now
okay,
we know,
I get it.
then you just stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No,
Creativity
you know what?
is that. Oh, yeah. Are you convinced? Yeah. Okay. It's done.
Yeah,
Well, you remember my quote? In a world where people have made up your mind, don't be the one.
Exactly. No, I think because we had the chance to meet a lot of very interesting people, and so it's very vital for us, for our jobs, and then we have a lot of opportunities.
The
and
podcast forced us to study.
Yeah.
Because we have got a commitment. Every Wednesday we have to publish an episode. So the commitment with our audience, thousands of people, force us to study, make interview. So do something that we like, but we have to do, and the podcast help us continues to do all the good stuff you have to do around.
Yeah, there's a lot of mierda moments,
Yeah.
you know, because that's part of the job. But yeah.
Okay, so this is what's the best? No, not best, but what's the most interesting insight that you have learned from the previous 400 plus podcasts?
Oh,
it doesn't mean the other ones are not as. It's
No,
the
no,
one
no.
that pops up in your head right now.
right now it's from Anna Maria Testa, and she's a very, very good Italian copywriter, and she studies a lot of creativity. She wrote a lot of very good books about creativity. She came up with this simple formula, and creativity is the ability to take two or more existing elements, combine them in a new and useful tool or way or thing. It's basic, but I think it's maybe the best one that we find out, at least for me.
I agree. And that's actually mine too. I have a formula. Idea equals person taking knowledge and information and combining it in a new way.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good because it makes it less dramatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about, I'm not that original. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this one. What about you?
I think you know the example.
Yeah.
I don't remember who talks about Valentino Rossi, the famous motorbike rider, very popular.
Of course.
And he said once in an interview that he doesn't like to ride his motorbike in the free time around his house. He wants to play in the MotoGP. You know why? Because the MotoGP has got rules
And constraints.
So constraints. He wants to be the best one in the world between the rules of a game. Because you think sometimes that creativity, you can do whatever you want. Sometimes if you've got constraints, you are not able to find better ideas.
Yeah, true. I usually say that sometimes in my podcast. As I say something funny. It's actually quite hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Say something funny about Donald Trump. Much easier. Even though we limited way more.
That's true.
Yeah. So same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
And it does it with his hands, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
we got Fredrik Haren. He's a good guy.
Great guy.
Great guy.
That's your next path in life.
Not keynote
Comedian.
speaker, but comedian and okay.
Improv.
Yeah, improv. Okay, Fredrik, thank you for being here in our first ever English version of an episode of Hacking Creativity. And so I think we will see you tomorrow on stage for the Creativity for Better. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.